Good evening. Do please be seated. Good evening and welcome to you all. Welcome to Cornwall's Cathedral, to Truro Cathedral. I'm Canon Simon Robinson, the Dean Designate. It's a joy to have you here in this great place, built to the glory of God by the people of Cornwall, a house that manifests what is possible when people come together, building a house and a home for God's beloved children. You are all welcome here, whoever you are and whatever you are carrying on your shoulders today. By way of introduction to this ShelterBox Christmas Carol Concert, I took a bit of time this morning and watched In the Cold Night, which is on ShelterBox's website. It's the story of too many families, too many children who find themselves living outside in the cold after natural disaster. The story of a little boy and his family displaced by earthquake. He says this in that story: "We were in the cold night wearing just our bedtime clothes, and we did not know, where is my Nana? I miss my stories, I miss my bed, I miss my Nana." As we prepare to celebrate Christmas, the birth of a child who had no roof, no shelter, a refugee in fear of his life, may we be even more compassionate. May we dig even deeper into our financial pockets, and may we do everything we can here today and tomorrow to ensure that no child anywhere speaks out in fear or grief or terror with the words, "I miss my stories, I miss my bed, I miss my Nana." Let's do what we can today to ensure that that never happens again. Thank you for being here. I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Canon Allen.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Canon Alan Bashforth. I'm the Canon Chancellor here at the Cathedral, and it's been my joy and my privilege to work alongside the ShelterBox staff in the last few months to bring this service together for you. But just before we begin, I have a key duty, which is to give you the health and safety announcement for this evening. So should we have to leave the building, you can leave via the west doors, and there will be people who will help you and steward you to do that. If you don't know where they are, you will find that the cathedral facilities are over here in the north transept, just over my right shoulder here. And it will be there after the service that refreshments are served. Also to tell you that tonight's service is being live streamed, so people will be watching this service in all sorts of parts of our country, and indeed perhaps in other countries, as frequently happens here. And you might see around people taking photographs, their ShelterBox staff actually making a record of this event. So don't be worried about that. That's who those people are. And as I'm often inclined to do when I've had to give out notices like that, I can confirm that there is not a life jacket beneath your seat, and should the cathedral lose altitude during the course of the service, oxygen will not drop from the ceiling. Okay, but it's really good to have you here, and we're here, and of course we are here in the Christmas season, and we're here to do some good, loud and wonderful carols singing, and we're going to be helped by that by the Ingleheart singers and the Suitcase singers, and so I'm going to invite them to come and join me here now to help us in singing our first carol. And once they're there, and once they begin to sing, then I do ask you to stand up and join in heartily singing with them. You'll find our organist will join in. But the most important thing in this first carol is that you allow them to sing the first verse completely on their own. Please join us, Ingleheart singers. Come and join us. Thank you.
We're going to sing the first verse in German, so do then join in with us in English, and the lyrics, of course, are in your programme there. Thank you.
I think we're always touched in life by the real and authentic stories about the lives of others. And we're going to have a reading in a moment, and that reading is going to be read for us by Ola, and Ola works as a dental nurse in Falmouth. But part of her story is that she left Kharkiv with her son in February of last year to the sound of explosions. They could take with them only what they could fit into their rucksacks. As a result of all of that, they will not be able to gather around the table with their loved ones on New Year's Eve as they used to do, because their loved ones are now scattered around the world. I've met Ola a couple of times this week, and I'd like to encourage her and bring her forward now as she reads her poem for us. Ola.
When you carry your home and your past on your shoulders, a snail, your road is hard. Serhii Jadan wrote this poem a year ago after the war started. People, like snails, wait for the evening, sleeping so soundly, so deeply in stations. Women who left clean bed sheets back home. Children who cling to their mother's hand. What will you take, little snail, from your burning home? First of all, faith that you will return. Remember the way the furniture stood. Hide the keys in your pocket as the dry flowers. This is your road, walked by the voiceless, overnight stays between silence and rain. Be brave, little snails. Know your worth on this journey. You're denied a home, never a heart. Thank you.
It's time to sing again. I'm going to encourage the choir to come back. Do come and join us. And stand yourselves and prepare yourselves to sing Hark the Herald Angels Sing. There we go. Can you just remain where you are for a second, please? Just remain where you are. Just while we check this out. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you kindly and carefully make your way out of the west doors, please, onto High Cross?
Ladies and gentlemen, please exit through the doors which you entered the cathedral and assemble at the front of the cathedral. Please exit through the far doors. Stephen.
sweep of the building. Yes, I think that one that said the main cathedral is probably an old, but we've got 12 of us there, so we've got showing the Emmanuel point and main cathedral. So you guys have to
You never know, we'll be able to check from cameras.
say my colleague will remember it more than most.
Thank you.
Don't worry, I'll do that. Yes, we are. Is everybody back where they're supposed to be? Can I just thank you on behalf of everybody here for the way you did that in the spirit that you did it in, and it's really good to have you back here. We are going to make a couple of amendments, but we're still going to do much of what we were going to do. I'm going to try without any irony now to introduce the film In the Cold Night. Everybody having been outside the cathedral. But in a way, this will serve us well, because we were outside and we had our little bit of fun and our little bit of community singing. But this In the Cold Night is the same film that my colleague Simon referred to at the start, that brings home the real challenges that some people face in the lives that they lead. And so hopefully our technology is now going to work, and we're going to see In the Cold Night.
Hello, I'm Imelda Staunton. I hope you're wrapped up warm. This story is called In the Cold Night. At bedtime, I said, "Please, Mama, can I have the cat story?" But then the baby started crying. Mama says we have to call the baby Fatima. But I never wanted a new person, especially not an always crying one. So my Nana read to me until I fell asleep. But then I heard screaming and crashing. My bed was shaking me and the walls were trembling and cracking. Daddy grabbed me and I said, "Where's the baby?" And Mama had her in her arms. The buildings were falling down, so we ran outside. Our neighbours and friends were running too, and everyone was shouting and crying. Then we were in the cold night, wearing just our bedtime clothes. And we didn't know, where was my Nana? The shaking earth broke our home, so we were always being in the car. You can't have bedtime stories in the car because it's too dark. I miss my stories. I miss my bed. I miss my Nana. Then, some people gave us blankets and solar lights and a small house called a tent. And tent walls don't break even if the earth shakes. It is all warm, and we can stay here until we have a new home to go to. Mama and Daddy are busy and I am the big brother. So now I read the stories, and I say, "Fatima, would you like the cat story?" Thank you for listening. And that story is based on the real-life experiences of many families who have lived through an earthquake in Turkey and Syria. So please do share and help spread the word for those facing cold nights without shelter. Thank you so much.
Despite the fact we enjoyed the singing, we're going to resist the temptation to sing O Little Town of Bethlehem. We will be singing a little more in this service. So it's now my pleasure to introduce to you Fern Britton, who's going to come and read to us. She did tell me downstairs that her great-grandfather was a canon, so it's really nice to see you here in the cathedral, Fern.
Thank you very much. And my goodness, we're never going to forget this carol concert, are we? Well done, everybody. Well done. This is a story that you all know very well, I'm sure, but it's lovely, and I hope I don't cry reading it. It's A Visit from St. Nicholas by Clement C. Moore. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were all nestled, all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma, in her kerchief, and I, in my cap, had just settled down for a long winter's nap when, out on the lawn, there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon, on the breast of the new-fallen snow, gave a lustre of midday to the objects below, when what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver, so lively and quick I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled! His dimples, how merry! His cheeks were like roses, and his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and his beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, and then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team, gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
I am going to give the splendid Ingleheart singers the opportunity to sing the Carol of the Bells to us again, but not as an outside broadcast this time. So if you'd like to come and join us, that would be great.
much for your patience. It turns out it takes quite a long time to get 90 people on a stage. We're nearly there. Wasn't that good fun singing outside? Anyone would think we'd planned it. Anyway, we're going to sing for you again Carol of the Bells. The song derives from a Ukrainian folk song, and the lyrics were written by an American.
Yes, please don't go. Please don't go. Come on.
Tonight, isn't it?
I think the people can see enough of me while I read this little part of the Christmas story to you. In many ways, the Christmas story chimes in with tonight as well, as it speaks of a family displaced and a family living in a shelter that they would not have normally lived in. So this is a reading from the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 2, verses 1 to 7. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and the lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Thanks be to God. Please prepare to sing again and stand as we sing our next carol, In the Bleak Midwinter.
In I hope in a busy world and a noisy world that you're enjoying the gift of silence just for a moment. While we wait for the choir to sit down, we'll enjoy a few more moments of silence. And I hope it's a gift for you. I wonder what comes to mind when I say the word God. I wonder what images or pictures pop into your head or your heart when I say that word, God. Because I think that whatever we do or don't believe, we've all got images or pictures of who or what God is or isn't somewhere. So what pops into your head when I say God? The Bible, of course, is full of different pictures and images and metaphors for God. Some of them the obvious ones, but there are others that are less easily or frequently noticed. And one of those is the image of God as a shelter. And over again in the Bible, God is described as being like a safe place in a storm, or like a shelter that provides protection, or like a refuge in a time of danger. And I imagine that every single one of us here has had the experience of those moments in life when we've needed to hunker down somewhere safe while the world around rages, whether that's from real physical danger or from the storms of bereavement or relationship breakdown or illness or the other struggles of life. And so the image of God as a safe place, as a strong home, as a protective arm keeping us from harm is perhaps an evocative and a powerful and maybe a personal one. And of course all of that seems very appropriate for a service like this, when we celebrate the work that you all do for and with ShelterBox. And when we remember the people who need the shelter and protection that you provide, always at times of extreme threat and danger. And given how often the Bible uses that word shelter or refuge to describe God himself, I don't think it's pushing it for us to imagine God as a shelter box, of God as a place, a provision of safety and hope for the future, just when things are at their very worst. And so let me say a huge thank you to all of you, staff and volunteers and supporters and donors of this wonderful organisation, ShelterBox. Thank you for being just a little bit like God in what you do. One more image. In a few days' time, there will be hundreds more people here in this cathedral for the services of 9 lessons and carols. And we'll hear powerful words from the Bible during that service. We're going to sing great carols, and it will be Christmassy and beautiful. And towards the end of the service, we're going to hear some of the richest and most profound words that have ever been written. They're from the beginning of the Gospel of John, one of the 4 books of stories about Jesus and about what he did and about what he said. You might recognize them. They go like this: in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. And then this: the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And that little word that we read in English as dwelt, literally translated, is pitched his tent. That God became human and pitched his tent amongst us. God, the shelter, the refuge in a time of danger and difficulty, has come and pitched his tent amongst us. And it's not stretching our imaginations too far to say he's done the same amongst the people of Syria and Turkey and Gaza and the Ukraine and in every place where people are suffering. That God is not off in his heaven somewhere looking down from afar at a broken world, but that God has come into the places of the deepest suffering and has pitched his tent, a tent that will provide shelter to anyone who needs it. Because perhaps like you all, it turns out that God is in the emergency tent pitching business. And so I hope that if any of you here tonight are in need of a shelter from the storms of life this Christmas, that you might have the courage to ask God for help, and that in doing so you might find him to be a safe shelter. And I hope that for all of you who are involved with raising money and packing tents and shipping them to the places where they most need to be pitched, I hope you know that your work is touched by the divine. And I hope you know God's blessing this Christmas. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being just a little bit like God in your work. Happy Christmas. Amen.
We began the evening reflecting on this place as Cornwall's cathedral. And if you're Cornish, I'm sure this county is very special to you. If you're people like me who will never quite qualify as Cornish, but have nevertheless hung around with the Cornish for around 40 years, then it's a very special place to me too. And I think this next song that we're going to hear has become very special for many people in this county. And indeed, on a number of occasions this year, I've been in this cathedral and heard this sung. And it's something that really touches people's hearts in many ways. So I'm going to ask the Clams now to come forward and sing for us. Cornwall, my home, perhaps reflecting within that the fact that this charity began its life in this county. And that's something that this county can be proud of.
Watch the sheep wheels at Giver as they spun around, and heard the men singing as they go underground, and no one will ever move me from this land. this is my home. I've left childish footsteps in the soft sand and sand, and I've chased the maids there, all giggly and tanned. I've stood on a cliff top in a westerly blow, and heard the waves thunder on the rocks far below, and no one will ever move me from this land until the Lord calls me to sit at his hand. For this is my Eden, and I'm not alone. For this is my Cornwall, and this is my home. First thing in the morning, on Chapel Cambrai, to gaze at the lilies in the blue far away. For this is my Cornwall, and I'll tell you why. Because I was born here, and here I shall die, and no one will ever move me from this land until the Lord calls me to sit at his hand. For this is my Eden, and I'm not alone. For this is my Cornwall, and this is my home. For this is my Cornwall, and this is my home.
Now I'm going to ask Sanj, the ShelterBox CEO, to come and reflect on the evening with us. Sanj.
Thank you. Well, I promise you it was not our plan to give you a taste of displacement this evening and have you all stand outside, but it was unplanned, but actually a timely reminder of how quickly things can change and how quickly you can lose a roof over your head. I hope it wasn't too disruptive for you, and with great thanks to, I think, our singers who led us in some great singing outside and then continued inside as well. So let me begin by thanking both the Clams, but also the Ingleheart singers and the Suitcase singers who were just fantastic this evening. Thank you so much. My thanks also to the clergy in Truro Cathedral who've, at relatively short notice, accommodated us and have allowed us to use this wonderful space and to join us in praying for all those who are without shelter this year. And of course, to our wonderful readers, Fern Britton and Olia Lemcheva, who have given us such wonderful readings and reminders of what Christmas is really about. And of course, I also want to thank the ShelterBox staff and volunteers who've given up their time this evening to make it so special for all of you. The year has been what I would describe as restless and disruptive right now for ShelterBox, from the Holy Land to Pacific Islands to forgotten Sudanese refugees who are crossing into Chad in a conflict that doesn't get the news. We have been busier than ever, and it has been relentless. So it's really wonderful this evening to take a moment for the stillness to set, to really reflect with all of you on what we do and why we do it. And I think it's really important that we do it in this setting, because we have many supporters now thanks to where we began. But where we began is right here in Cornwall, and the goal of our founder was to help 8 or 9 families a year. That was something that we thought we could do in 2000. And where that began and where it is now is thanks to the support that really started in Cornwall and has spread into a movement that means, thanks to you, we're helping 250,000 people each year, and that's in a quiet year. So we don't take that support for granted. We don't take you for granted. And so it's really important to us that we can enjoy this moment to say how proud we are of the support you give. Cornwall is not a wealthy county compared to many others, but we are the contribution from Cornwall to the world to make the world a little bit better for people who day by day, hour by hour, are losing their homes to disaster and conflict. And I think that's incredible and something that the staff and I are incredibly proud of as well. So thanks to all of you as well. I just want to end by saying we have a lot ahead of us. As we speak, we are in the process of transferring aid into northern Syria to help people who are constantly displaced, constantly on the move due to conflict there. We are preparing a response in Gaza with a partner there. We are still responding in Ukraine in a bitterly cold winter. And these are just the responses that we know of. And of course, in our unpredictable world, we don't know what's coming next. So whether you are able to support us a little or a lot, we appreciate everything that you can do, because it all builds up to that shelter kit that transforms a family's life, as you saw in the video, in the cold night, and ultimately builds us towards that goal of no one without shelter after disaster, which is our mission. So thank you, and I would like to invite you, after Bishop Hugh's blessing, to join us for refreshments, talk to ShelterBox staff, hear more about what we've got up to this year, to my right here. But I will hand over for now to Bishop Hugh to conclude with a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanj. We had a moment of quiet earlier, and let's take the gift of another moment of silence, just a couple of seconds. And maybe there's something that you've heard or that's stirred in your heart, or that you sang, or that you've noticed during this service that you don't want to leave behind here. Something important, perhaps, a commitment that you've made, something that you know you need to do. And if that is happening in your head or your heart, then in this moment of silence, notice it and do what you need to do to make sure you don't leave it here. And now hear these words of blessing. And I pray that they go deep for you. May the joy of the angels and the eagerness of the shepherds, the perseverance of the wise men, the obedience of Joseph and Mary, and above all, the peace of the Christ child, be yours this Christmas. And the blessing of God Almighty, who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, a safe refuge and a strong home in times of danger. May they be your safe refuge this Christmas and always. Amen. Stay on for something to eat. Chat to Sanj and his team. Don't get too cold when you go home, and God bless.